It took me to recover about a month and a half of home care every day and going to see the plastic surgeon once a week. I burned my hands holding the pot. It was the flames that were just the way I was running, the wind, I guess, was blowing towards my left hand and it just burned my hand. The biggest mistake I made that day was to carry the pot out the front door. I went downstairs to call the kids, and by the time I came upstairs, the flames were up to here, so I just grabbed the pot with my bare hands.
For most people, cooking is a part of their daily lives. Now, kitchen fires account for 21% of all residential fires, and about half of all cooking fires are caused by people leaving their cooking unattended. And by following a few simple safety tips, you can prevent dangerous cooking fires from happening.
And I would have had the lid on top of the counter right beside me so that when the pot did catch on fire, I would have got the lid and kind of slid it onto the pot, and then I would have called 911 instead of taking the pot out the door.
It's a story we hear all too often. Fires starting in the kitchen because people are not staying in the kitchen while cooking. Prevent cooking fires by avoiding distractions, like talking on the phone, texting, or watching television. You must be alert. You won't be alert if you are sleepy, under the influence of alcohol, taking medications, or other things of that nature. The best thing you can do to prevent a cooking fire is to stay in the kitchen while cooking. Now, other preventative tips are keeping anything that can catch fire away from your stovetop. Now, this can include oven mitts, wooden utensils, food packaging, and towels. Now, keep your stovetop burners clean and clear of clutter, and wear short, close-fitting, or tightly rolled sleeves when cooking. Having a lid or cookie sheet close to you is your best defense against a frying pan fire. If the flame is still small, you can slide the lid or cookie sheet over the flame to snuff it out. Turn off the burner and do not remove the lid. Now let's explain what's happening to the fire here.
We all know the fire triangle. Oxygen plus heat plus fuel equals fire. If one of these elements is taken away, the fire is extinguished. So, in the case of a grease fire, the stovetop is providing the heat. The grease is the fuel and oxygen is, well, everywhere. Placing the lid on top of the pan separates the oxygen from the fire, and turning off the burner removes the source of the heat, which will eventually extinguish the flame. So you put out the fire, right? Not exactly. See, the frying pan is still hot, and if you remove the lid, a surge of oxygen could be sucked back into the pan, causing the flame to violently reignite.
The two most common mistakes that people make when putting out a grease fire are moving the pan or throwing water onto the grease fire. Now, you should never pick up the pan for any reason. You could burn your arms and your face. And if you drop the pan, you could burn your legs and spread the fire onto the floor. Now, never throw water onto the grease fire because it only intensifies the flames.
Water and oil don't mix. If you poured water into a glass of oil, it will sink to the bottom. So, if you pour water into a flaming pan of oil, it will instantly vaporize into steam because of the extreme heat. And with the steam below the oil, it expands rapidly upward. This creates a reaction, explosively expelling the flaming oil upwards and everywhere, giving the fire even more oxygen. You do not want to throw water onto a grease fire.
Please remember that calling 911 does not cost any money whatsoever, regardless of the size of the fire or whether you believe it's out or not. Have the fire department check to see if the fire is out and to assist with removing the smoke in the home. You still could have a spark in your ventilation system without even knowing it. Firefighters have the tools such as a thermal imaging camera to examine if the fire is fully extinguished. I know it seems like using a microwave is safe, and it is when done properly. But a lot of the same rules apply when cooking with a microwave. Stay in the kitchen. Make sure that you watch what you're cooking, especially if what you're cooking came from a box with specific instructions.
Microwaves use a carefully calibrated frequency that can pass through most glass and plastics, but get absorbed by food's water and fat content. This same frequency can produce a concentrated electric field or even sparks at corners and edges of a thin metallic object, such as metal utensils or tinfoil. These sparks could ignite oil or grease inside the microwave and ignite a fire.
The best way to prevent microwave and oven fires is to regularly clean these appliances. In case of an oven fire, turn off the heat and ensure that the door is closed to prevent more oxygen from getting to the fire. Now keep the door closed until it is cool. After the fire, the oven should be checked or serviced before using it again. Always plug in microwaves and other cooking appliances directly into an outlet. Unplug small appliances when not in use. Remember, in case of a fire, don't think about your valuables. Get out and stay out and call 911 from a neighbor's house or a cell phone. Every home needs a working smoke alarm on every story and outside every sleeping area. Now, to aid in reducing nuisance alarms, a smoke alarm should be installed within 3 to 6 meters of a cooking appliance. Now, test smoke alarms monthly by pushing the test button. Replace batteries at least once a year, and replace smoke alarms every 10 years. A working carbon monoxide alarm should be outside the sleeping area of every home where there is a fuel-burning appliance. Also, replace the batteries at least once a year and replace the carbon monoxide alarm according to the manufacturer's specifications. Every home should have an escape plan with at least 2 ways out of every room where possible. And also, ensure that the doors and windows leading to the outside open easily.
Have a meeting place like a tree, light pole, or mailbox. It should be a safe distance in front of the home. Make sure everyone in your home knows how to dial 911 or your local emergency number from a cell phone or from a neighbor's phone.
It is important to practice fire safety every day. Now use this recipe for safe cooking. Pay attention when cooking and stay in the kitchen. Put a lid on it. Keep the stove and microwave clean. Clear the clutter. Unplug small appliances when not in use. Replace appliances or cords when necessary, and ensure your smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms are working and up to date. Have a home escape plan and practice it. And if there is a problem, call 911 immediately. Help us make these rules familiar to everyone by practicing them yourself. Remember, the best way to survive a fire is to prevent one from ever happening. Happy safe cooking.